Okay, it is Friday, March 25th, and my guest today is Michael Phillips from the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Michael, how are you?
Yo, great to be here. Happy Friday. Big weekend ahead, so it'll be exciting.
I'm curious before we get started. I don't know why my brother was asking me this earlier, so I'll ask you. The crest, that doesn't change on the jersey, right? The Washington can do that, but can the Nike won't do it for a couple of years, right? Is that true?
The crest on the jersey doesn't have the ring; it's only got the inner portion. So there shouldn't be any issues.
Okay. On the back.
Just the center portion, I believe. The alternates are maybe the black one may be different. I'm not 100% sure on that. Maybe it's got a different. The home and away though, the burgundy and the white, those are just the inside part of the crest. So,
okay.
So no there.
That makes that easy. Let's get it. Let's do this. I posted today my top 5 sandwich list. I got Reuben at number 1. Ooh. Do you have a favorite sandwich?
Great pick. Yeah, boy, picking just one's the challenge here.
That's right.
Yeah. I love the Thanksgiving style sandwich where you put the turkey and the stuffing and the cranberry. That I'll do that year round. It doesn't need to be November for me. Anything with bacon, like a turkey bacon, BLT, however you want to dress that up, that's a winner. Chicken salad's good. Don't sleep on chicken salad. I'm up to 3 already, man. I mean, we're just gonna crank these out.
And you knocked 3 out of my top 5 quickly.
Reuben's a winner. Yeah, Reuben's a top 5 contender for sure. I'm not a huge Cuban guy. That I know those are considered to be top tier sandwiches. I don't love mustard and pickles, which are 2 of the main ingredients. So
that would be a tough sell.
More of a mayo guy.
Before we move on from sandwiches, chicken salad. Are you like a super chicken salad guy? Like I personally don't like fruit and nuts in my chicken salad, or do you like all the fixings?
No. I want like a good rotisserie chicken. Like I want that carrying the load. Like I want a running back who's getting 1,000 yards. I don't need this by committee nonsense. Yeah, I don't need 4 flavors carrying this. I need one good chicken flavor. Taking the thyme, the mayo, the lemon, all that. Sure, they're the offensive line. They're blocking for you. But if your chicken's not carrying the load, you're not doing this right.
Couldn't have been said better. Let's get on to stadium locations. It's going to come down to money, right? I mean, that's whoever's willing to foot most of the bill. Do you think that's Virginia at this point?
Yes, but I would add the caveat of assuming RFK is not involved. I know we keep coming back to this, and every time we have this discussion, we say RFK is not on the board. It's very hard to free that land up. They're trying. I mean, it's not that they're ignoring RFK. They're trying to make that happen. It's just it is not happening for them for a lot of very legitimate reasons. You got to go through the Senate. You got to go through the presidential administration, the Department of the Interior. You got to go through the D.C. City Council. You got to go through the neighborhood over there, Ward 2 or whatever it is. Just so many reasons. If RFK's in play, they're going to build there and shun Virginia's money. D.C. isn't coming to the table with that kind of money, but they're going to shun the money if they can build at RFK. I just think ultimately the answer is they're not going to be able to.
And is that the only place that would be available in D.C.? I mean, is it like RFK site or bust?
To do the things they want to do, they are serious when they talk about this being a big complex practice fields, training camps, hotels, restaurants. There just aren't a lot of places in D.C. that fit that bill outside of the RFK site. One of the things that got kicked around very early on in the process is across the river from Nats Park and Anacostia. That's a football stadium-sized plot of land. We're talking about a lot more than a football stadium here, so I don't think that would get serious consideration.
The spot in Maryland is just blowing out the current site and adding around. Dan's got a ton of land surrounding FedEx already. Correct? That's the only spot for Maryland you think that's realistic?
I do think so, because that's the government is backing that in terms of putting money into the project. Everybody wants National Harbor. I've heard National Harbor from the get-go about how exciting that would be. You can build metro out there through the Wilson Bridge. The Maryland government, though, has been pretty clear. If they're funding it, they want it to be on that FedEx site to build out that neighborhood and that development. You'd probably build the new stadium in the parking lot of the current stadium. That way you wouldn't have any off years. to tear down the current stadium, build your development, your hotels, your retail, your practice complex around it, because they're moving out of Ashburn. Unless the stadium's there in Ashburn, the Ashburn facility will be shut down. Everything will move to the new site. There's inertia is in favor of that. They're there already. My counterpoint would be they've been there for 25 years now, and it doesn't seem to be going all that well, honestly. We'll just call this what it is. I don't see why you would look at this 25-year track record at FedEx and say, let's get 25 more of that.
What are the three main sites in Virginia? There are three, correct?
Three sites. So the first one we was talking about is Loudoun County, which is it's catty corner to the airport there, Highway 28. It's a quarry, I believe. I think it's technically in Sterling, but the Loudoun line hits it, and that's on the new Silver Line Metro. The second one is Woodbridge. I don't know specifically where that site is in Woodbridge. It's the one I've heard the least about, because sometimes those are the ones to watch out for. But the two I've heard the most about are Loudoun and then Dumfries, which is a fascinating play. We can go deep on Dumfries here. It's not right off of 95. It's past Highway 1. It's on the river. It's on the Potomac River, which gives you a lot to work with there. And the other thing is the Virginia rail trains cut right through the site. So you would be able to build a train connection from L'Enfant Plaza in downtown DC. Would it be quick? No, it would be enormously difficult to get to, especially for your Bethesda residents, your Loudoun residents. It would not be easy to get to, but it unlocks the southern crowd, your Richmond, Norfolk, your Fredericksburg, your southern fans. And there's a lot of land there, and it's a little less complicated than moving into Loudoun, where maybe the neighbors would have thoughts about it.
You call it Dumfries. I call it Dumfries. They now call it Potomac Shores, right? Sounds a lot better. But it's in there, like basically that's Cherry Hill, right? It's the old Thames River Shore type area back there on the water. Yeah,
Amazon did that too when they moved into Crystal City. They renamed it something like America Harbor or something. So you call it what you want. We know what it is.
but it is for those that have not been down there in a while, and I'm in North Carolina now, so I only go back to see family once. I mean, it's booming in the area. It's not like it's sticks and twigs like it used to be. I mean, there's new gambling, right? I've heard maybe horse track coming down the line. So getting in there seems early for them, seems like a win.
Oh, it's a thriving, booming neighborhood. And yeah, it is not rural by any stretch. Same thing you talk about Loudoun County. People might have a vision of what Loudoun County was 30 years ago. Loudoun County ain't that anymore. There is big business out in Loudoun County. You think about even Reston. I mean, just all the multinational corporations, the defense contractors. There's huge money all over the place out there. So no cheap land available in the Metro DC area. That's for sure.
And the one in Woodbridge, that's not Stonebridge or where the old Nats Park is. You just don't know where they're talking about in Woodbridge. Those are the two sites that make sense.
I don't know the exact location. Probably behind the IKEA in some sort of way. There, I'm speculating here.
Oh, like knocking down Potomac Mills Mall?
No, but near that area.
Okay.
No, I don't know the exact site on that one.
Okay. Let's see. Anheuser-Busch pulls out, or the company that owns them. That seems like a big deal. I think there's only 5 clubs in the league that don't have the Budweiser. I mean, how close are we getting? We're nowhere close to owners voting Dan out because Budweiser won't sponsor the Commanders, right?
The big question hanging over this particular issue to me is, Miller and Coors are owned by the same parent company, Miller Lite and Coors. Mm-hmm. Your 3 major beer brands in America, but just 2 companies. Is Miller Coors going to jump in and take it? They're the Cowboys sponsor with Miller Lite. Coors sponsors the Broncos. Of course, they've got a handful of other markets. If they jump in, if they cut the check, you just roll on. You say, that didn't work out with this one company, another major. But if they say no, and you're in a spot now where the 3 major beers in America are all turning their back on you, now you got bigger issues. Now you got to settle for a smaller company, smaller deal. It doesn't look good. The optics on that aren't good. So this weekend's the NFL owners meetings going down there Sunday morning. We'll be reporting from that through Wednesday. I am very curious to take the temperature of that room, to see where we stand. This is the first time all the owners are going to be together since the pandemic in this format. The big to do, the owners meeting format. They've had, meetings here and there, but this is the first big one. I'll be very curious to take the temperature of the room. Where do we stand? I think we'll have a lot better idea coming out of those meetings on Wednesday.
Now, the radio hubbubaloo this week was about money. That's not what this Anheuser-Busch thing is. No,
this Anheuser-Busch has not put out any statements about why they left. But they have been under pressure. There have been fans and advocates who have been emailing these sponsors and reaching out to these sponsors and saying, hey, you got to quit sponsoring this team. And, you saw that pressure at FedEx when they asked for the name change a few years ago. Now you see it here with Anheuser-Busch. If this campaign trend spreads to more companies, the NFL is absolutely going to take notice.
The radio station deal was about money. Do we know who they've got taking over the broadcast yet? They didn't roll that out as with many things this offseason, they did not roll that out very well. Would have been much easier to have waited till they could have told you who the new partner was and just moved on, right?
I have heard, but have not confirmed who the new partner is, so I won't share that just now, but it is locked in, and it is a major group and major player in DC radio, so they're not going homeless. They're not they're not going to stand outside with the boombox and broadcast Julie out to the parking lot that way. It'll be an actual legitimate radio station. Why they did not announce it, we can forever speculate on that. But they did find a home, and it is, as with everything, it's a thing that became a thing, and it's tough to put the toothpaste back in the tube once it's out. So yeah, just another story to watch over the next few weeks.
One more of those stories before we get to some actual, like football stuff. The report was 20 people left the business side. It seems like that happens a lot, no matter who's running the business side. Is that because that's a thing with the business side of football teams, or is that something that's Washington specific?
If you talk about salespeople, a lot of them are commission-based, bonus structure. The more you sell, the more you make. And
is that who the 20 people were? We don't know who the 20 were.
I don't know who the 20 people were, but when you're talking about business side operations, selling sponsorships, selling tickets, this is not an attractive product right now, for a lot of reasons that are beyond Jason Wright's control, and a lot of reasons that are beyond Ron Rivera's control. But the fact of the matter is, it is tough to sell tickets. It is tough to sell sponsorships. And if you are a talented salesperson, you'd rather be working for the Nationals or the Capitals right now, where you're going to get your calls answered and taken, and where ticket sales are a little bit easier to accomplish, or other NFL teams. So it's kind of one of those things where I'd say it's nobody's fault within the current realm. These people, the current administration with Jason Wright, but it's a product that's not moving a lot of product right now, and that's a tough spot to be in. There was the Sports Business Journal report last year where the league called these guys in and said, look, you got to sell more tickets. This is embarrassing to us. You're not selling more tickets. What can they do? It's a bad stadium in a bad location with a team that's been pretty bad for a while. It's tough to overcome.
They fixed that by winning. Ron Rivera thinks they've done that with Wentz. Now, whether you think that's true or not, we'll see. In fairness to him, he was an MVP candidate 3 years ago. We haven't had any of those in the building. I don't know, pick a decade. So I'll ask you this. Did they make that move out of desperation, or did they shrewdly do that to get ahead of all the other teams looking to get a quarterback in the offseason?
They didn't start their quest by saying, we want to end this with Carson Wentz. That said, they got somebody, and there are going to be teams that end this without anybody. And that would have been a bleak day if that had happened here. Because look, Heineke and a rookie, just there's no juice there. I don't know how you get through the season with that. And I'm a Taylor Heineke guy. I love Taylor Heineke, but nobody's saying run that back for 17 games. That's just so bleak. They had to find somebody. And so you said, did they move a little too early? Did they move a little too late? They moved, and let's not undersell how important that was, that they got somebody, because they needed to bring somebody in. And Is it the guy we all hoped and dreamed of? For me, it's not. I think he'll be fine. I think he's clearly an upgrade over Heineke. I think this character stuff's a little overblown, but I think the injury stuff might be a little underblown. He's a guy who's gotten hurt a lot over the course of his career, and that's a tough spot to be in as a starting quarterback. If you're looking for a guy who's going to give you 17 games, so chalk me up as a Met. They had to do something. It was not optional for them.
They're all Med moves for a Med franchise. So they're, Ron says that he doesn't have concerns about the character. That's his job to say. Do you believe him when he says it?
I believe that a lot of those character issues were because of the situation he was in Indy, where he followed Peyton, Andrew Luck, Phillip Rivers. Like, they had a standard there that was so high, and when he didn't meet that, and the owner turned on him quickly, the room turned on him quickly. I believe that's a lot of what drove that, and a lot of that won't exist here because that's not where the bar is here. The bar is at Taylor Heineke here, and he's going to clear it. That said, it will be something to watch for sure, because once it's out there, you can't undo that.
They have made it known that he's quarterback one, and I appreciate it when you give a man that much money and you got a 3-year contract. I know they can get out of one. You want the man to know that you want him and that he's important. Can you do that and still draft quarterback at 11?
I say yes. I think it's unlikely that they do, but to me, if you love Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett and they're there, go get him, man. I don't let that stop you. Look, if that's enough to ruin Carson Wentz, we need to know that now so that we can start moving on from Carson Wentz now. Because if that's truly enough to make him say, I can't do this anymore, like, great. I am glad we learned that right now and not down the line after wasting any more time here. It's a tough spot, though, because if Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett are still on the board at 11, I think there's good trade potential there, too.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of teams want those guys, and you will not hear me utter a peep if they trade back. I'll celebrate that.
Trading back is the unicorn. Everybody wants it. It never happens. But you're right. That's the way. That's the only way is if quarterback gets there. Maybe if the safety from Notre Dame, his name failing me now, is there. That's a trade back. Although I would guess they'd love for Hamilton to fall there, right? Safety would be optimal at 11. Do you have a favorite at 11?
Not yet. I join you in thinking, like, let's look secondary. Sauce, Hamilton, name your guy. I'm not as deep into it as some guys are, but I know there's a lot of talent there, and that's a position where they could really use help to make that defense, elite. If you pick a middle linebacker, it's a swallow your pride moment a year after picking a linebacker, but I don't think you could go wrong there. That would be a high value selection. Wide receiver, I think that's very defensible too. We say that in the context of you have to lock up Terry McLaurin, but never hurts to have another elite wide receiver either, especially after you're not seeing Curtis Samuel. So those are that's my early read on where I'd be looking.
I looked at the Dolphins target shares just because I figured that's like a middling of the road offense last year. And it was like 140 targets for wide receiver 1, 75 targets for wide receiver 2, and 50 for wide receiver 3. So I'm curious for all the people that say, draft receiver at 11, and everybody's like, yeah, take a receiver at 11. It's like, well, if Terry gets 140 again and Samuel stays healthy and takes that 75, and Diamond Brown's a 3rd-round pick who the team was really high on and expects he gets better and doubles his meager 25 receptions to 50, where are the targets for a wide receiver at 11?
I think that's a very astute point. That's why I went secondary first. I think if you truly believe this is a playoff team, and I believe this could be a playoff team, I think you want an instant impact player.
And corner, quite frankly, and I've said this for a couple of weeks now too, as I look at the roster, maybe one of the weaker spots on the roster. When you figure you move Fuller outside because he wasn't playing well inside, and you really thought he was going to be the nickel. Like, I don't even who plays nickel on the team right now. I don't even know.
Yeah, especially that Buffalo nickel. That they really enjoyed that formation and thought that that'll be good against these high octane offenses. So it's a big unknown. There's still more signings to come, and I think the draft will drive a lot of that at this point.
Do you think they'll be able to get a deal with Terry Dunn this offseason?
I hope so. Look, he's got reasons to be hesitant too.
Yeah.
You can see the direction this headed. I hope they make an offer so big he can't refuse it.
Like 22, 23 million a year.
I'd do it. I would do it. It's the message you need to send to your fans right now. We hear you. We know you love this guy. We're going to keep him here. It's the Jonathan Allen message from last year. Unfortunately, it's your team, but you don't get the discount. You still have to pay the bad team premium. I think you've got to do it. I think you've just got to let people know, we hear you. Here's our guy. We're keeping him. Please hang with us.
Couple more. I know you got to run. JD said this was a playoff team last year. If he and the COVID situation didn't happen, do you believe him?
Nah, I think they would have faded late. I think
it was going to be tough to get to 10. You had to get to 10 last year, I think.
Yeah.
Norwell and McCain are making the same amount of money. Seems shocking.
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, hey, bring on the talent. Bring it all in, and neither of those guys are cap busters, so I'm okay. I'm okay with that. That feels good.
They continue to say that they want something to get something done with Deron Payne. Whether you believe that's the right way to build a roster is with that much money allocated to defensive tackles, do you believe them, and do you think they'll get that done?
No, I believe they think it's a thing they need to say, and it's a polite thing to say, but I don't think Deron Payne ends up here long term.
Okay, yes, everyone would think impossible, right? They've the over-under for next year early on is set at 7.5. What do you think?
I think they're a playoff team. Call me crazy. Come take me away. Give me the crazy pills. I don't know. I think I think by putting Carson Wentz in instead of Taylor Heineke, I think you're instantly 2 games better, and that clears the bar right there. Before you do anything else,
Phillips, Richmond Times Dispatch. Thank you so much for your time today, man. Appreciate this.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, had a good time.